What's going on? Jamey Chadwell, Coastal Carolina coach, is out. Now he's going to Liberty. This was a big surprise to a lot of people, me included, for multiple reasons. One, Liberty was Coastal's rival back when they were in FCS. They played Liberty a lot. Not really two opposite polar schools, Look up Chadwell. Coastal Carolina had the mullet. He was buying into kind of the redneck beach boy philosophy. And now he's going to Liberty. It's like a Christian private school, literally up on a mountain, so they're up on a hill. It just seemed like a totally different world from being in low country Myrtle Beach. And also another reason it was surprising that was because he's had a lot of success at Coastal Carolina, obviously. Trust me, look up Jamey Chadwell on YouTube. There's like a video of him mic'd up from 5 years ago. You can see it's the spring game. There's not really a ton of excitement around it. They're like, as in there's no one in the stands. There's no video packages running on the screen. There's no music playing. It's just kind of like, a team on a field and nobody's around to watch it, which is how it is for a lot of smaller programs, but it's definitely changed in the years past. And that's not all thanks to him. Joe Mogla, the president of football operations, he's the man. Look him up to. But another reason it was surprising was because he had a lot of success at Coastal. I just noted some of the changes around the culture, but not just the culture. Winning record, obviously, bowl games on national TV. 3-time Sun Belt Player of the Year was his main guy, quarterback. And a similar team that's had success in the Sun Belt was Billy Napier, Louisiana, and he ended up going to University of Florida. So obviously, not only is that a Power 5 school, it's one of the best schools in the country. And so for Chadwell to leave this opportunity to go to Liberty is a little surprising, especially when one of the places he interviewed was Tennessee a couple years ago. And now I don't think Tennessee was too keen on letting him bring his whole staff in. And it might, a lot of times they interview a lot of people and they don't actually really consider them for coach. They just want to do a due process in case somebody blows them away, or just they want to be able to say, yeah, we did a wide search in their press conference. Joe Mogul, the guy I talked about, recently did a press conference. I don't think you can find it on YouTube. I think if you look it up on the internet, though, I listened to it. And he talked about he hated how schools have this process of they don't think about the next head coach, or they put little thought into it, and they, when they go to look for coaches, then they interview and they have this whole process and they hire a search firm. He's like, you don't need that. You just need to have some coaches in mind, stay in constant contact. When Chadwell left, they had another coach announced in 2 hours. So he's saying, it's going to happen. You guys don't prepare for it, and you do a bunch of these interviews when really, if you had a personal connection to your candidates, that supersedes every interview. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. So yeah, it surprised me for him to go to another Group of 5 school when the precedent had already been set. Eli Drinkwitz at App had a similar run where he made App State really good. Literally identical. Eli did it first at App State, got the Missouri job. Napier did it second at Louisiana, got the Florida job. Chadwell does it to Coastal, then he's going to Liberty. It just doesn't add up. The next team up is Troy. They're doing really well. Obviously, South Alabama is better too. But a couple reasons why it isn't surprising is, one, Liberty was able to offer him a lot of money. He got a bigger deal at Liberty than Coastal gave to their new coach. He was notorious. Their first year, they went undefeated. I think he was literally the lowest paid coach, or top 5 lowest in FBS. And he had, superseded his contract. I don't think anybody was in doubt of that. He got coaches opportunities to other players. He'd send some players to the NFL. Doesn't surprise me that he was looking for more money and more value. Another thing that makes sense is he's a big Christian guy. Always wanted to cross. He wanted to do some things around the program. Like, one, he's really big into, he wanted the players to line up in a cross formation, like on the field, and they take like that aerial shot before one of the games, or maybe the day before a game. I think it did happen once, but he wanted it to happen multiple times, and there was a lot of backlash from the players who were, because not everybody's religious at a place like Coastal compared to a place like Liberty, and so there's a bunch of people I did not feel comfortable doing that. And he talked a lot in his press conference before and after the conference championship that it wasn't about money, which, it's never, when you're in a situation like that, I feel like it's never only about money, but you still want to get what you're worth. And getting what you're worth, kind of money is related to that. but he talked about having a positive impact. He wanted to go wherever he can have the biggest positive impact. And you're a religious person and you're getting an offer from a religious school for more money, kind of makes sense in that way. A couple of other interesting notes just come to mind. One, he was born in Tennessee, I'm pretty sure, played ball in Tennessee, but then his coaching career has mainly taken place in South Carolina. He was at Delta State, he was at North Greenville, where he met his offensive coordinator. His offensive coordinator at Coastal was his quarterback at North Greenville. Then he goes to Charleston Southern, and which actually set a precedent. He went to Charleston Southern, then to Coastal, and they were rivals. They were in the same conference at FCS. And so he said when he got there, meaning Coastal Carolina, from Charleston Southern, he was met with a little bit of resistance because he was just, you were just the coach of our rival, and now you're our offensive coordinator. What are you doing? And so that precedent had already been set. So people who hadn't paid attention to Chadwell's career before now are probably like, how could he do that? How could he go to a rival school? He's already done it before. And he did it at a younger, less mature age. He's probably handling it just whatever now. It is surprising, though, that all of that took place, all those jobs in South Carolina. Now he's going to Virginia. So, it's not like he's moving across the country, but it's still, surprising that he kind of got a job outside of the southeastern region, So we'll see how it goes. I think he'll have a lot of success at Liberty. I really like the new coach that Coastal hired. I'm not super familiar with Tim Beck, but I'd heard him say and Joe Mogla say that he had interest in this job a long time ago. His daughter would go to volleyball tournaments in Myrtle Beach. There's a ton of sports in Myrtle Beach, baseball, volleyball. A lot of people meet there for tournaments, I guess, because they got a lot of housing accommodation there. And said he'd fall in love with the area and that he saw the university as kind of like a gold mine. I mean, it kind of is. It's a beautiful campus. The kids are enthusiastic. It's a positive environment. They super invested in sports, especially as of late. They've got a new indoor facility. They've got a giant baseball thing because the baseball won the national championship 2016. So it seems like the new coach is excited. I think it'll work out well for both parties. Another interesting theory, I'm not sure about this, so I didn't mention it before, is people mentioned they could have left because McCall, 3-time Sun Belt Player of the Year, unprecedented, probably leaving, either going pro or transferring, I'd imagine. Could come back. He does have great loyalty, shown that already by coming back this year. But it could have been in his thought process, Chadwell's, that hey, I need to leave and get paid right now before my star player leaves and possibly have a bad year or two, and then forego all that money I would have made. Like Deion Sanders said, another little tidbit I heard, that you're either getting fired or elevated. And so I think it'll work out well for both parties. I'm interested to see how many coaches leave to Liberty, just because a lot of the coaches have been with him at every stop. So that little South Carolina run of North Greenville, Delta State, Charleston Southern, and then Coastal. And his offense coordinator had gone to school at Clemson, so he's a South Carolina guy. I'm just interested to see if they all moved to Virginia. They're on the staff right now. His defensive coordinator is going to be the interim coach for the bowl game. And so I wonder if they'll stay on staff, if they'll stay in the area, or if they'll be disgruntled that, hey, the interim coach now, who's the defensive coordinator, could be upset and saying, I feel hurt that I wasn't even considered to be the new head coach when the previous Chadwell had previously been elevated from a coordinator spot. And so, I want you to see how things play out. Those are my thoughts on the situation. I thought I could add a little bit of info. I'm a little familiar with the situation. I was a lowly, lousy intern for the team for a couple of years, so met him on a handful of occasions. He probably doesn't even recognize my face. But yeah, wish the best for both parties. I think Coastal will be all right. It's a great place.